Marga Gomez grew up in Harlem, New York. Her mother, Margarita Estremera, is of Puerto Rican descent, while her father, Willie Chevalier, is of Cuban descent. It should be noted that both of Gomez's parents were in the entertainment industry. Her mother was a dancer, and her father was a comedian. Throughout the years, Harlem has been one of the destinations for Cuban and Puerto Rican immigrants. She attended Catholic school, where she discovered drama as an alternative to sports in high school, where, incidentally but significantly, she was the only Latina. The following clip demonstrates how Marga Gomez includes pop culture and Latin American topics and politics in her show.
I tried to relax the other night, and I went back to watching one of my old favorites on TV. I watched Survivor. I watched Survivor. I didn't like it. I couldn't get through it because this season, Survivor comes to you from Nicaragua. That's insensitive. Okay, the people from this TV show just dropped off a bunch of middle-class Americans in Nicaragua to have them survive on a rice cake and spearfish and win $1 million in the second poorest country in this hemisphere. Okay? This is a war-torn country, Nicaragua. You know, in the 80s, there was a terrible war there, and people were killed. So the people in Nicaragua who are still alive are actually survivors, and they should get the $1 million. Anybody agree with me? They really ought to. You know? And it's very hard to relax and enjoy Survivor now, knowing what I know, because when I watch a reality TV show, I do not want to be reminded about reality. You know, and I remember Ronald Reagan was so against the Sandinista government in Nicaragua, and he needed more money to fight them, that to get the money, Reagan sold weapons to Iran. Iran! That would be the best location for next season of Survivor. Wouldn't it? It'd be so exciting. Survivor Iran! For your immunity challenge today, you'll be taking a hike.
George Lopez is an accomplished Mexican-American comedian. He was born in Mission Hills, California in 1961. He has had many stand-up acts transmitted by HBO, acted in movies, animated films, his own television sitcom, as well as hosted his own show. His mother was married to a migrant worker who abandoned George Lopez's mother 2 months after she gave birth. He hated his childhood because he grew up with a grandmother who did not show affection. The events that he lived in his childhood have come to become an integral part of his comedy. As George Lopez says, "I became a comedian as a way to cope with this kind of psychological abuse. A life so sad it had to be funny. These days, I'm using all the tears and heartbreak to make folks laugh." In the following clip, we will see how George Lopez uses Spanglish as part of his comedy act. Spanglish is the mix between Spanish and English, and as a Chicano, he's been able to incorporate it into his comedy.
You could vote English as the official language, but it'll never work. Because we're always going to speak Spanglish. It's too late. That's all we've talked in our house for years. ¿Qué pasó, tía? I went to the store to buy those zapatos that I like, pero estaban gone. Los shoes amarillos, sí, estaban todos sold out. And I even hided them too. Do you remember hiding shit you couldn't afford to buy that day? You take this shoe, I'm gonna put them over here, mira. I'll make a mark right there so they know. Then you come back Saturday when you got money, watcha? Hey.